Everyone. I just wanted to go through and show you how to use the new Respondus Lockdown browser. We're going to start by going into your Blackboard page, and you'll see over on the left-hand side of your course, you're going to have Respondus Monitor Instructions, and then you're also under Course Tools. Come down here and click on Course Tools. You're going to have an added tool that's called Respondus Lockdown Browser. So this is where we're going to start at. So just click on Respondus Lockdown Browser. It's going to open up this page, and you're going to click, Continue to Lockdown Browser. You will see all of your tests that you have created in this page. If the test has not been created yet, you cannot set it up for Lockdown Browser. So make sure that you set up your test prior to getting to here, like you normally would. So you can set a password on it, release dates, things like that. I keep mine unavailable until I'm finished with this. That way the students can't go in and start the test without it being completely set up. So you'll see here that I have two tests. The first one, this patient care pretest, is one that I've already set up, and it's got the required over here. But this one, I want to go from the beginning and show you how you're going to actually set it up. So we're going to click on this test that I have here, and this is just the name of my test. I wanted to make sure that I knew which one it was that I was going towards to set up. So I'm going to click on this little green arrow, and I'm going to click on Settings. Now, under this, it's going to have two settings that you can choose from. Do not require for this test, which means you're not going to do anything else. The student would not need to go through Lockdown Browser to do this test, or require Respondus Lockdown Browser for this exam. So that's what you're going to do to set it up. Once you get that, it's going to prompt the student for a password. You want to this is just like whenever you set it up normally in Blackboard if you set a password, but this is the one you're going to give the students to take. So on this one, I'm just going to make it easy for me to remember. So I'm going to just put test. Then I'm going to click on Advanced Settings. And this is where I'm going to be able to choose what the students are going to be able to use while they're taking their test. So the only thing I want them to be able to do, and this is important if you have Apple users or iPad users, is allow students to take with an iPad from the Apple Store using Lockdown Browser. So click on that one. If you want them to use a calculator, you can click on that one, and that will allow the computer to bring up the calculator that's available. You can also use scientific calculator or just the standard calculator. That's the only two things that I enable. That way they don't have to worry about using their phone as a calculator and having it out. Okay. The next thing, monitor webcam settings. So this is if you want to require a webcam, which I would suggest doing because that's going to allow them to check their surroundings. If you want it to be a proctored lab, you would choose the bottom one. But for most tests, you're going to choose the middle one, require Respondus monitor. So on this, you're going to click, after you click that, you're going to put continue to Respondus monitor. And that's going to then open up these sets of options for you. So it's going to automatically check all of them. But if you want to just decrease the amount that they're having to do, then you can go in and change these. So I'm not going to require student ID or show photo. I will have them do an environment check. I'm not going to do additional instructions or guidelines and tips because that will take them through it every single time. Now, if you want to do that for the first one, so they get all of their guidelines and tips, that's perfectly fine. Then on facial detection, prevent students from starting the exam if face cannot be detected. So that's if they're not sitting in front of their computer when they go to start the exam, then that would not start. And then if the students can't, face can't be determined, during the exam, the computer is going to prompt them. So it's if they're out of focus, if they move out of the way, something like that. So I'll just keep those two as defaults. Now I'm going to come down to advanced settings. And this is going to allow if I want other things to be used while they're taking their test. So this is allow another application to use the microphone. I'm not going to do that because they shouldn't have anything on while they're using it. This one is make webcam videos additionally available. I'm not going to do that either because they just have their one webcam that's going to be on their computer. Okay, so now I have that set and I'm going to hit save and close. And that is all you have to do to set up your test. So it's fairly easy. You're going to scroll back up. It just takes you down to the bottom of the page. So scroll back up and you'll now see that the second test has required and required. So that means that the test is set up for the student to take. Now, the only thing that I'm going to do is go to my course content where my test is housed for the student, and I'm going to scroll down and make sure that everything is set up right. So now this test before just said test, 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 like it normally would for the student. Now it says webcam requires Respondus Lockdown. If I make this available to the student, when they come down to here, you see it's lit up like it normally should be. When they go, if they try to click on this from this browser page and begin like normal, it's going to tell them they cannot take this test in the browser that they have. So they're not going to be able to open that up. Instead, they're going to go to their lockdown browser icon that they have already downloaded. And the instructions are in here, and I'll show you where those are at. So, but I want to show you how this looks and what the student's going to use. So they have already downloaded their lockdown browser for their Windows computer or their Apple computer. They're going to double click on this. They're going to allow it to be on. And then I don't know if it'll let me take it all the way through because we're actually going to be going into the test, but it's going to, you can see behind here that it's taking them straight into their Blackboard page. So we can go in, put in, and I create a test. If you don't already have a test student in your course, this would be a good time to do that so you can see what they're seeing and make sure this test is working right before you deploy it to the students. Okay, so I have that. And you can see it's still allowing, surprisingly, it's allowing me to keep recording. So now I'm just going to go in and open up my course content. So I'm seeing this as a student, and you can have that now. I can open that up and begin. So if you want to also record them, you could do that. So now I'm going to put in their password. This is the password that we created when we set the test up. And we're going to agree to go through. This is what the student is going to have to do every time they go in to take their test. So because, and this is where I thought we were going to have an issue, because I have my Loom camera already deployed, it's not going to allow me to choose, it's not going to allow the computer to choose my webcam for the lockdown browser. However, you can see over here on the side, terms of use we already did. They're going to do a webcam check, which is going to allow them to check their webcam, do a little recording, make sure it's working properly. An environment check, they're going to be prompted to look around the classroom or look around their area to make sure that they have nothing on their desk or on their table, their phone's not out. Then it's going to do a facial detection. It's going to allow them to make sure that the computer sees their face. And it's also going to allow them to do a, sorry, let me silence that. It's going to allow them to do a audio check So if you have recordings in there, if you have sound in there, they want to make sure that that is recording, or that that's getting recognized also, and the student's webcam and audio are still working. And then they're going to be able to begin the exam. Once they begin the exam, if they try to exit out of this screen for any reason, it's going to not allow them to minimize or exit. It's only going to allow them to save and continue, or to exit, and then they have to put a reason why they're exiting the exam, and it will not let them back in. So they're not able to go to another browser whenever they are in the lockdown browser. They're going to submit it just as normal, and you'll get it just the same as you normally would. So let me exit out of that. So that's basically all there is to it. The setup is pretty easy. I'm going to attach a step-by-step guide that you can have along with this. So you can, I'll do some screenshots so you know what I clicked in case you weren't writing everything down. So you'll be able to refer back to that a little bit easier. But as you can see, it only takes about 5 minutes to actually set that up after you have your test built in Blackboard. So hopefully this was helpful. And if you have any questions or concerns, just give me a call.